I wanted to write a song based on some of the videos that I had made for possible inclusion as background music. I was making some videos about water at the time and thought that would offer quite a large scope to write a song. Specifically, I was thinking about surface tension, and the first half of the chorus seemingly came to me pretty easily. There's a tension that holds me together. It makes me feel better than adhesion alone. Surface tension is an effect caused by the cohesive properties of water, so this sentence makes sense. I thought about an experiment I did with a droplet of water falling, and the words, "I'll fall, but that's gravity affecting me, don't take it personally," came to my head. The "don't take it personally" part of the sentence is similar to a turn of phrase that I am quite often exposed to as the tagline to a pathology company that I walk by.
With these two phrases in my mind, I considered the experiment more and put myself in the place of the water droplet and tried to imagine its experiences. The experiment basically is the water droplet growing bigger until it is too heavy to be supported, and then disconnecting from the glass dropper from which it is supported. The experiment can have one of two possible outcomes on termination, depending on whether the droplet smashes into an obstacle or if it splashes into some water. I elected to use these possibilities and to try to equate the interactions of the droplet with similar interactions that can occur in everyday human social life. The first verse of the song starts with "You pick me up, you hold me," referring to the action that a glass dropper would perform to collect the water that is needed for the droplet. The rest of the first verse was written so that the first two lines rhymed, and then I elected to insert the sentence about falling as the second component. However, the rhyme for this set of lines required extra words in order to create a better rhythm. I meddled with it until I was happy it had an appropriate rhythm. I then proceeded to write the chorus. Songs exist having a variety of forms relating to the chorus, but I elected to have the chorus repeated 3 times and with 3 different verses. This offers the advantage of not having to rewrite the musical accompaniment 3 times. The together and better words make an internal rhyme within the chorus. The chorus did appear to be incomplete, so I prepared the second half to a similar rhythm to the first half of the chorus. The second half details exactly what the force is. The force keeps friends united. This refers to the attraction of water to its own molecules, cohesion, and effectively surface tension. It was about this time that I was becoming aware of the amount of syllables in each statement of the song. Whilst the chorus was constructed without much thought about syllables, it was noticed that to make the beat similar, for appropriate rhyming match pairs of lines, the number of syllables would need to be the same. Certainly, when the second verse was constructed, the syllables needed to be taken into consideration to match the beat of the first verse. As what I thought was a kind of clever joke, I rhymed the word tack with crack, tack meaning the navigation of a boat, and also meaning to stick to something. The second verse also caused some revisions to the first verse in order to match the rhythm that was being created. When the third verse was created, I scanned a thesaurus to look for some words that were similar to form. In the end, I just used the word form because it was one of the smallest words, and I didn't need a particularly big word to fill the gap, and it would lead to less description from the other words. I wrote out the whole song again and tried to sing it as I went. Some things just didn't seem descriptive enough. I originally referred to the event of falling as fun, and thought that this didn't really describe what was happening appropriately, so I changed it back to fall. Other sentences I struggled with included references to the position of the water droplet and how another water droplet was created. The sentence required the addition of spurious details, such as "I will depend exclusively on tack," changed to "my progress now I find relied on tack." Another sentence required change from active voice to passive voice. Repair my form with your love to my form repaired by your love. I also realized that in the song the name of the force was never mentioned. I thought that there still required a sense of mystery about the name of the force, so I altered the third repetition of the chorus to mention the name of the force. After this I selected 4/4 time as the likely meter for this song. I attempted to work out how long each of the syllables and pauses would take within the framework I had designated, and matched verses with each other. I was unsatisfied with this matching, as it seemed some of the syllables had to be sung longer than they would normally. I decided to sing the song into the computer and record the results of how long each syllable was sung for. For this beat notation, a number displayed a multiplication of the smallest quantum each syllable required. A circle around a number indicated that a pause in singing had occurred. For example, of this calculations that needed to be performed to make the beat match follows. You pick me up has a pattern 2, pause of 1, 2, 1, 2. Tightening up has a pattern 1, 1, 3, 1. My form repaired has a pattern 1, pause of 1, 3, 1, 2. I included the pauses with either the previous or the next syllable's time, and then averaged the results. 2, 3, 1, 2, and 1, 1, 3, 1, and 2, 3, 1, 2 gave 5/3, 7/3, 5/3, and 7/3. All of these averaged to a number very close to 2, so I used this as the basis for preparing the beat pattern for this small section. I continued the process for the remainder of the song. Next I wanted to add some tones to the beat. I have a recorder that I used to try to match the pattern that a singer might make as the song is sung. I used a pentatonic scale of A, C, D, E, G, so that I would only have to consider if the frequency of subsequent syllables increased a lot, decreased a lot, or stayed at the same tone. For some parts of the song, this worked a lot better than others. I then wondered what key I actually sung in, so I decided that I would try to use the computer to find out. I used a Hanning window to measure the most prominent frequency in my voice when singing each of the syllables. I then created a frequency graph of the number of times each of the different frequencies occurred. I took the most common occurring notes and, assuming a major scale, matched it most closely with the key of A. That is when C, F, and G are increased by a semitone. I had to ignore the common frequency of the A-sharp note that occurred in my singing for this match. Then taking each of the notes as changes in tone from the previous syllable's tone by semitone. For example, A3 is 17 semitones lower than D5. I created averages of each of the verse's changes in tone from the previous syllable. My hope was to get a tone pattern that could be used to match the whole song to my voice. It didn't work too well, as the graph swung much too violently, and I had to use some of the original recorder pentatonic data to match to an A major key. I used all the data I had as a guide, but in a number of places the note used didn't quite seem right, so I altered it. I created a tracker file using the notes and sung over the top of them. If a note didn't quite seem right, I raised or lowered it as required. After a while, I got something I was happy with, and I stopped there.
I would like it if the music had chords and perhaps an added bridge section of the song before the final chorus, with a melody but no singing over the top. This is something that I may achieve in the future given more time.